Welcome to the OpenJ9 community call for December 6th. If you haven't already, please remember to add your name and company affiliation to the minutes so we can track who's attending the meetings. If anyone has anything urgent they'd like to bring up at the beginning of the meeting, feel free to speak up and interrupt me. We don't have any lightning talks organized for today. Hopefully we'll have some for the future. So I'll just jump into the user raised issues. There's a request to capture contents of string arguments when you're using xtrace. Problem with MXBean GC notification that Lynn was going to take a look at. And Kevin is working on clarification to some messages related to doing core dumps on Linux. I guess that's older. Keith, what's happening with the review of that PR?
Which one, the clarification stuff?
Yeah.
I'll have another look at it today, but at one point it was unclear whether we needed a new message or not. But I think you help me see that we do. But and we talked about how I think this is kind of upside down, expecting OMR to have knowledge of messages specific to OpenJ9, but it's kind of where we are.
Yeah, for anyone who's not aware, it seems OMR hardcodes message numbers that OpenJ9 provides, so that when you're printing certain messages, you can use the translated messages that OpenJ9 creates. Did anyone have any other user-raised issues they wanted to discuss? So for 035, we're still waiting for AArch64 Mac builds. I guess that's still in progress. For 036, we've got a bit of a change from last week. We had no blockers before, but now we have 3. So we're trying to fix core file creation for Mac OS version 13. And I've decided to make that a blocker for the release because we want to be able to support version 13, and I think we're close enough to getting it done. We got a new version of Java 11, 11.018 plus 5, and there was some changes to how Windows builds, and that's not yet working for OpenJ9, so we're not using that level yet, and we can't build on Windows. And then we've got a hang running some testing. It seems to be a hang in the JIT when a certain method's compiled at hot. That mostly happens on a Linux, although I've seen it other places, I believe. But it happens frequently enough on a Linux that it deserved to be a blocker. And then there was something related to FIPS testing that needs another look. But right now it's not a blocker. So for M1, we started building things. Externally we tagged M1, or we branched for M1, and we did the builds and everything looked good. IBM is also doing SEMRU testing and having some troubles, so it's only partially done. We got through some Java 8 and Java 11 testing, but that's not all completed, and we haven't done 17 testing. So due to that, and due to the fact that we have these blockers, I expect the M2 is not going to start next Monday. We'll delay that. Well, play it by ear, see how long it's going to be delayed. As previously mentioned, version 037 Java 20, I don't think there's any point about talking about a branch for that since we haven't started on Java 20 features and we haven't finished Java 19. So we'll just get into the Java 19 status. Um, Even though there's 18 issues and that's the same as last week, and actually I think there's probably 17 now because one just got closed minutes ago. Um, we have resolved a number of long-standing problems that were causing failures in our builds, or at least PRs were merged and issues were closed. The reason we're still at 18 issues is because there's some tests that need to be unexcluded, some of which the issues have been closed, but I guess the tests were never unexcluded. So those issues were reopened and we have to get the tests unexcluded and then it can be closed again. So hopefully soon our numbers will look a lot lower. There was a request to mark PRs with the backport candidate label and JDK 19. I don't know if that's being done, but if anybody's aware of any PRs that are required to support Java 19 that they haven't marked with backport candidate and JDK 19, please do so. That's to help us find them so that we can do a Java 19 release after 036. But I expect we're going to have to go through the list of PRs since we branched anyways and track them all down. Okay, so Project Loom. Jack, you ready to give us an update?
Yes, Peter. So, Project Loom, we've been working on addressing some of the test failure issues that we've been seeing. As of I think last Friday, most of the PR have been merged, and the only failures that we're aware of, one is the concurrent scavenger GC issue. The other is the GC failure in stress test for the invalid return address. Both I and Arrow each have a PR that addresses the JIT failure. I have confirmed that both changes correctly fixes the invalid JIT return address for standard GC policy and metronome and average pos off throughput. The only GC case where we're not covered by this fix was balanced. Both my changes and Daryl's changes failed to address the balanced issue. There seemed to be a random either a seg fault or a invalid return address being called when we're running under balanced GC policy. So I'll have to work with Lynn to discuss a bit more about what exactly is happening specifically with balance. Otherwise, the changes seem to be stable enough on other GC policies. So I will ask someone to review it and merge it this week.
Sounds good.
In terms the concurrent scavenger, I will let GC members take a update on that.
Jack, uh, sorry, just before you move on,
Yeah,
for that failure that you just talked about,
yeah.
so if you think your fix is stable, then we can go with that fix because it's more general. And I can close off the PR that I had created for that.
I will have a discussion, I guess, with the GAC just about which approach to take, because I think my one diverted into two different passes depending on whether it's metronome
Metronome.
or not. So I just want to seek a bit more clarification whether we wanted to divert it.
Okay, I'm just going to go in a holding pattern then. I'll just, well, we'll wait and see how this plays out.
Yeah.
I think we'll move forward with Jack's. It seems like um, it's probably the most complete solution at this
Yep.
point. Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'll pass it to either Dimitri or Lynn on the concurrent scavenger issue.
Would you please do latest update? Yeah, thank you.
Not sure I caught that. Dimitri, were you asking for Lynn to give an update?
Yeah, because Lin has the latest update on this for sure.
For the concurrent scavenger, we're still investigating the problem. We confirmed there's a related the concurrent scavenger only, but haven't traced down what exactly caused the problem. For the concurrent scavenger, no, for the continuation list, we do have a two solution to improve the performance, because currently the continuation list doesn't use for it all. We do the temporarily disable it. The change have been done and being tested locally. Is not ready for the code review. Yep, back to Jack.
Thanks, Lynn. Yeah, so currently from VM side, I've been looking at a bit of performance benchmark between OpenJ9 and OpenJDK to get a baseline understanding of where we're at in terms of virtual site performance. Other than that, there have been some discussions going on about possible removal of the virtual site list in Java 20 due to the potential support for structure concurrency, which would change the mapping of continuation to virtual spread from one-to-one to n-to-one, which means that we can no longer use the virtual spread list as a way of finding all continuations. I guess that's it for Project Loom.
I did notice when I was doing the stats today, there was no issues tagged against GC. So if we have an issue for the concurrent scavenger crash, can someone add the GC tag to it?
Will do.
So that reminded me that OpenJDK is branching for JDK 20 on Thursday. So I expect we'll turn off importing new changes temporarily and do the repo split for JDK 20. We'll have a repo for JDK 20, and then the headstream will be ongoing for 21. Did anybody have questions or comments for Jack? Cheng, you ready to talk about Panama?
Yes, Peter. On our side, so we spot two test failure last week and this week. Probably related to the VM was suspected. One of them really are codes in app code dispatcher. The other one I've not yet looked at. I need to take a look at after the meeting. And in terms of the ground test on Java 17 and 19, we spot there's a couple of test failures out there, and we already fixed two of them in OpenGDK. Another two we spot, one of them on X and one on Windows. So we so far need more investigating to see what's going on out there. Another one is invalid JIT address or the request to Dara to take a look at that. Is there anything you want to add, Dara, in this case?
No, not so far.
Okay. There's another the existing issue with the OpenGDK mesh handler. So the team is still the investigation is still ongoing. So far the only thing they conclude is that the problem disappeared without AOT with the specific method. So they need to still try to narrow down scope out there. Yeah, that's everything on my side.
Sorry, which one was that?
Sorry.
Which one were you just talking about? The AOT?
The OpenJDK method handler issues invoke basic.
161.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah, okay, I know which one you mean.
That's enough. Yeah,
It's
that's
the one where it can't find the method.
okay.
Okay, any questions or comments for Panama? Anyone? I assume nobody has updates for adopt. So we can jump to machines. Adam?
Hey, sorry. So we reduced our Artifactory cleanup from 25 days to 22 days because we were getting pretty tight on space. We're rolling out new Windows machines, cloning out from one of the good machines, so that's ongoing. If they're all good and we get the PR merged, then we will start deleting the old ones. The AMAC sharing seems to be more stable now. I haven't heard otherwise. We've reduced the heap on the agent jar to 1 gig XMX, so that seems to have helped.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
Same thing with the Z-Linux ones. I think that's about it.
Is there any chance we could get more space for
On the
Artifactory?
factory? Probably. I can ask.
So I think once we branch for JDK 20, that's going to put an additional load on doing builds and retaining builds.
Or
Because
is
we'll
that
have,
different? That's no different than.
I think we're now going to have more versions than we've ever had before, because we'll have 8, 11, 17, 19, 20, and Headstream. So hopefully 19 will be completed in January.
Yeah. I
So
think this is a usual new version, isn't it? Like it's not going to be more. It might be different because we're behind on 19, but I expect the next big increase would be the 21 in the fall.
yeah,
Or perhaps the January after.
yeah, so that having 19 still going is
Yeah.
going to cause an increase.
Yeah.
We hopefully will need a little less space as we resolve some of these 19 problems, because some of them are failing pretty regularly and saving core files. But now seems like a good time to start asking for more space.
I assume we can get it. It's just a matter of asking and then adding it. Now, yeah, well, I'll have to look into it, but there might be like a max 1T partition, and then we'll have to figure out how to assign 2 partitions to one Artifactory repo. Something for me to figure out. Okay. Anything else?
Nope, I don't have anything else. So, don't think Maris is on the call. So I'm assuming there's no updates for JIT server, nothing for microJIT. So that takes us to CRIU.
Yeah, so we're planning another release this month. Two outstanding items are the security fix, just the delay loading of the native crypto library, and the GC work to minimize the number of threads at checkpoint time and then dynamically increase it. So yeah, so that once those things are in, then we'll branch and start the process for that. There is a PR to enable CRU in Headstream. So there was some work done to the tests just to make them more resilient. And there was work done to remove the build dependency on libcru, so it's being dynamically loaded. So we're ready to turn that on in Headstream. Yeah, I think that's it for that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Toby?
Yeah, I see a PR for CRU in JDK 11. I thought I heard you just say it's in Headstream. Is there a PR there as well that I just haven't seen yet?
No, so we just have to turn on the flag in the extensions repo. I only opened JDK 11. Now I'll open the rest once that one goes in.
Well, we really ought to do things the other way around. Do it in the Headstream and then backport to older versions.
Okay, I can open one for JDK next
Well,
first.
the one for 11, 17, 19, and next.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that.
Are we going to do 19 or skip 19?
I don't think there's any harm having it there. Of course, just the risk that 19 never releases, but
It's starting to look a lot better. I think we're getting closer to release because we've closed a bunch of long-standing issues recently.
yeah, my preference is to have it in all 11, 17, 19, and next.
Sounds good.
My other question, Toby, I thought there were some build dependencies. In order to build with CRU enabled, you needed stuff installed on the build system. Is that not the case anymore?
No, we removed those dependencies. We're no longer statically linking with anything
Okay.
CRU.
I thought I saw something about Java 8. Did that already go in?
No, so Java 8, we want to get to that eventually, but it's not a priority right now. There's still quite a bit of work to port some of the security changes to Java 8 due to the differences between 8 and 11. It's much more, the delta is a lot less 11 and up than it is between 8 and 11.
So when we released before, we were only releasing 4 or 11?
We were doing 11 and 17.
Thought there was some sort of problem on 17. Did that get resolved?
There was never an issue on 17. There was an issue building on 11. I believe Adam is looking at that. It only seems to be an issue in the internal Jenkins. We never had an issue externally.
So when we released before, we only released 17 because we had problems building 11?
So maybe I should take a step back. The first release we did was in 11. I think that was back in April. But then the next one after that, we did 11 and 17. And we've been doing 11 and 17 up until October, when there was an issue with the internal Jenkins building 11.
Yeah, because I thought I saw only one version for the November release.
Yeah, that was just 17.
So are we getting to the bottom of the JDK 11 build problem, or do we expect the December release is not going to include 11 either?
Well, it depends on if Adam has been able to find the cause. It's definitely an infra thing because we can build it in the open just fine, but I'm not sure what the issue is internally.
I'm not hearing anything from Adam, but I won't put him on the spot. So
Sorry, we're talking about the 11 compile failing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just have to have a look at it when we have time. It's got to be some kind of machine setup or configure option or something like that, because it builds internally fine on the using the OpenJ9 scripts, just not the Simmer scripts. So, just something we're missing. It was fine. It was working, but something changed.
okay, anything else? Daryl, any update on the Mac M1 work?
This week.
And then Erwin opened an issue about deprecation process. Is that what no, it's the pull request. Yeah, I don't see Erwin on the call, but there's an issue. You there?
Yeah. The PR is just the doc that I opened based on our discussion yesterday.
Oh, okay, that is what I was thinking of. Great. So if anybody feel free to take a look at that. It's official documentation for the deprecation process. Erwin was looking for review comments. Did anyone have any other business to do today? Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks.